So this is my project on encryption and decryption. So our main objective in this was the user would either enter an encrypted text or a decrypted text. So for example, if they entered a decrypted text, so we would take that text and we would encrypt it. So if they entered hello, for example, we would move on each character in hello, and we'd move on 3 characters and output that. And so if we wanted to decrypt that, we would have a string which had all the alphabets, which I'll explain later on. But this is called Caesar Cipher. And there are many ways that you could encrypt or decrypt text, but this is the way that we did it. So an overview of the slides is that on the first page, we're going to have a few meanings about like what it meant. We have the code for the encryption and decryption, like the code for choosing to either decrypt or encrypt, and a little thank you for listening and watching. So what do they actually mean? So encryption actually means the process of converting information of data into a code. So this is usually, for example, in like centers or anything, if they have like your password or something, they might like encrypt it. So like, for example, it would be harder for like hackers to actually know what your password or someone to know what your password is. And to decrypt that password is to take the encrypted data and basically make it like, take it back into its original state. So the encryption and decryption code. So this is the code we use for decryption and encryption. So we have 3 arguments that are passed in over here. So we have our plain text, which is just the text that the user enters. So we have the choice as well. So this can either be decrypt or encrypt. And we have the key, which would be an integer. So we have these 3 arguments that are passed in. We replace the original characters and we find a new character after finding its new position as per the chosen key. So the user actually enters the key. And so we find the new position with the help of this new position is equal to original position minus key modulo 26. And so we also have a check if the character is not in alphabets, then we just add it onto itself. For example, things like spaces, they are not actually in this alphabet string, so they just get added onto each other. And so we also have the choosing to either encrypt or decrypt. So there are 2 main ways that you could either choose how to do it. There's a main function, or there's just one that's without any function. So basically, these both are quite similar. So they both ask for if the user would rather to decrypt or encrypt, they would ask them to enter text, a key, and it would make sure that the choices that they've entered are actually valid. So we would want to make sure that the user has entered either encrypt or decrypt and not anything else. So we have an if statement that checks that. And we also call a function after they choose that. So this is the code in Visual Studio Code. So if I run it now, I need to enter the key. So for example, if I enter 2, so if I have A, for example, it would move on 2 letters to C. So 2. So if I enter a message like hello world, so the secret message would be this, and the original message would be this.